All right, everybody. This is a lecture on how to write a rhetorical analysis. For next week, we have a rough draft of rhetorical analysis due. And so I want to show you the components of the rhetorical analysis and kind of talk through to you what this essay is going to look like. First of all, I just want to assure you we're just writing a rough draft this week. Nothing to get too stressed out about. As long as your rough draft covers all 5 categories that we have listed here on the PowerPoint, as long as it meets the minimum length requirement of the essay, and as long as you give a good effort on the rough draft, you get all the points. Don't even have to worry about it, right? You will get all of the points. What's going to happen is you're going to write a rough draft, and then we're going to edit the essay. We are going to make sure your essay goes from wherever it is to as good as you possibly can make it, okay? And so it is so important when writing a rough draft not to get too concerned about how it looks, not to get too concerned, and don't stress out. And it's important just to freely write, get your stuff out, and then during the editing phase, we will make your essay as good as it can possibly be. So just know right off the bat, don't stress out about the rough draft. I promise you, whatever you do, we will make it better. Okay? Promise you that. All right, so rhetorical analysis. What this is it's an essay where you are going to read an essay and then you are going to evaluate that essay based on these 5 categories right here. So remember we talked about in class how everyone has a valid essay, or everyone has a valid opinion, provided you can back up the things that you're saying. That is so true in this class. I promise you, no matter what your thoughts, no matter what your politics, no matter what your opinions are, in this class, you always have valid opinions, provided you have sound reasoning to back up the things that you're going to say. So as we build in this semester, we are ultimately building towards papers where you are writing your opinion and then backing up your opinion based on the research that you've done with expert opinion, data, statistics, or personal experience, right? That's where we're ultimately going. Okay, that's the last step, and that's August. That's the last step of our journey together. What we are going to do for today and for this essay first is get into the practice of 1, formulating an opinion, and then 2, backing it up with some form of examples. For this essay right here, we're not going to do a lot of outside research. For this essay right here, the stuff that we're going to use for evidence will be the essay itself. And then so it'll be the essay itself. So you're going to use examples from the essay to back up the things that you said, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to, when you go to the file, you'll see a collection of essays that correspond to the appropriate last name. What I want you to do is pull up the essay that corresponds to your last name. They all should be working. I tested all of them, so they all should be working. If you just Google the title of the article and the author, the article that I want you to read should pop up. Then I want you to read the essay. You may want to read it once or twice, 2 or 3 times in order to get it kind of in your brain. But I want you to read the essay. And then now when you go to write your rhetorical analysis, all you have to do is think to yourself, what do I think about that? What do I think about that essay? And then most importantly in the second part, why do you think the things that you think, right? So for example, you're going to start out your essay. The first part of the essay is going to be, what is the purpose of the article? What I want you to do is think about that essay you read. Think about what you believe the purpose of the essay that the author wrote is, and then think about what in that essay is giving you that thought. Then what you're going to do is, it's a simple little process. A, write what the purpose of the article was, and then B, give me a paraphrase, a summary, or a direct quotation from the paper itself that shows you why you believe that. And that's your first little section right there. It's just 2 parts. 1, what you believe the purpose is, and then 2, what from the essay gave you that opinion. And so you're kind of stating your opinion, backing it up, right? That is a key formatting in this class. It's going to go for the rest of the semester is give me your opinion and then tell me why, right? So number 2, did the author achieve his or her purpose in writing the essay? Oh, that's all part of the why the author wrote it, right? So just like I said, think to yourself, did the author achieve his or her purpose? What led you to know that, right? So what's the purpose of it? Why you believe that? Do you think the author achieved the purpose the author was trying to do? What led you know that too, right? So there you have two examples from the essay to back up the things you're saying. Like I said, it can be a short paraphrase, it can be a short quotation, it can be a short summary. Whatever it is from that essay that gives you that opinion, just kind of make it in there, right? So there, first quarter of your paper right there, number one's done, right? Number two, what's the evidence the author uses for their points? Do they use data? Do they use examples, expert opinion, life examples? What evidence is conveying the meaning the author wants to convey? So just think to yourself, what does this author use? Let's say your essay is a heroin addict overcoming heroin, right? Nothing's more powerful than personal experience. So an essay about overcoming heroin addiction from someone who used to be a heroin addict, pretty compelling, right? So if the evidence the authors use is his or her life examples, I mean, that section's pretty easy, right? You know, the author used life examples to formulate his or her opinion. Then you give a direct quote, a summary, a paraphrase from the article itself, maybe showing exactly what things the author said that supports that, what life examples the author used to support the evidence he was saying. Now you got number two, section number two. Number three, was the author credible? Is the only source where you might have to look something up, right? All of you have incredibly famous authors at your disposal. I didn't give you one author that you can't look up in a simple Google search, right? What I want you to do is I want you to look up the person that you is your author, and I want you to see what qualifications this person has, right? If you're reading an essay about, student debt relief, and the person who wrote it is a 12th grade student at Riverdale High School, that may not be the most credible person to have written that essay. Let's say you are reading an essay about, the legalization of marijuana, and the person that wrote the essay is a pastor of a Baptist church here in Murfreesboro. May not be the most credible person to be writing an essay like that, right? And on this part, I can't tell you what to write because all your authors are different, and it's up to you to decide if that author is credible or not. All you have to do, though, is in this section, tell me what qualifications your author has, and then give me your opinion on if that's a credible source or not. And make sure you're always saying why. Why is the person not credible? Or why is the person credible, right? You may have a little bit of outside research, and if you get anything from an outside source, make sure you're citing it. I have another unit up in the folder about how to cite your sources, but make sure you're always citing any source that you use and putting it in the works cited page, okay? What tone does the author take? That's the next one, right? Was the author angry, sympathetic, personal, authoritative, formal, informal? Same thing, this section here. You're going to tell me what tone the author took, and then take an example from the essay, put it in there to back up what you're saying, so that way I have a clear understanding of whether you believe the tone was what it was. And then also, was that effective? Did that provoke any emotions with you, right? So it's kind of, how did the author get you to feel? Now, here's the deal. Like I've said before, you don't have to say that, don't feel pressure to say that the author was good at everything, right? If you don't believe the author did a good job eliciting emotions from you, like I said, sympathy, anger, whatever, you don't have to say the author accomplished his or her goal. If the author did not accomplish his or her goal and wasn't effective in reaching your emotions, say so. And give examples as to why they were ineffective with it. What wordings did the author use that didn't provoke any emotions with you? That's the point of this, is to give me your opinions and, you tell me why, right? And then lastly, who's the audience for your essay? And was the author Was the author credible? Was the author able to reach that audience, right? So if you are reading an essay and the essay's audience is clearly college kids, and you feel like the vocabulary is too sophisticated or too highbrow for a college student, say so and give examples, right? Say the essay's intended audience was college kids. Now I'm quickly, but you say it's college kids, right? Then give examples. Oh wait, I'm sorry. The audience for the essay were college kids. The author wrote his or her essay with language that doesn't reach that intended audience. For example, the author uses words like metacognition and discourse community, which are words that college kids don't use and will confuse students and cause them to stop reading the essay. If that's what you feel and that's what you want to say, then do it, right? So look at your essay and then ask yourself, who is the audience this person is trying to reach? And then just ask yourself, did he or she do a good job in reaching it? And then lastly, why? Why do you know that, right? On the discussion board, there's an essay that Malcolm X wrote about how he learned how to read. And you may read that and decide to yourself, man, his target audience was African Americans, and he did a fantastic job reaching that audience. He had great examples from his life that's inspiring to the African American community. That's great. You can write that, right? But let's pretend you read this essay and you're like, no, I don't think that reaches their community well. The language isn't appropriate for the audience. It's too long. He doesn't use enough narrative examples to make it interesting. Whatever your opinion is, write it. That's great. This essay is purely an essay where it is your opinion. Whatever you think, I will go with you, right? I've read all those essays that I put out there. Some I really like, some I really don't like, right? If you sit there and you're reading this essay and it's a complete stinker and you don't like the essay that you read, fine, write it. Just make sure you're giving examples from the essay to back up what you're saying, and you're completely fine. This essay doesn't have to be long. The length requirement is at least 3 pages. So it doesn't have to be a long essay. You don't have to put, it's just purely you evaluating this essay that you read and then using examples from that essay to back up the things you're saying. What this essay, why we always start with this first, is because it's a good example of how to formulate your own opinions and really kind of think to yourself how you believe something should go. And then you express your opinions using examples to back up the things you're saying. If you can do that, you're going to have yourself a fantastic essay, right? So make sure you look at the discussion board and make sure you look at the example essay that's up there and read the student example, and you will see that that student follows this formula to a T, and you will see exactly what I'm looking for. And listen, like I said, give it a shot. We'll see what it looks like next week. If it's bad, it's bad. We'll make it good. But the final grade is not going to be determined on your rough draft. It's your final draft. And rough draft, just, my advice to you, I just wrote a book the other day. Yeah, coming out in October. I found the best thing to do, and this is so true, is just get it out, just regurgitate it out, throw it up, put it out there, and then we'll make it good later.